trying to manage this campaign.
And then I told about a little bit about Tanzania, how the school is over there in Round Pond with their class countdown.
I'm Sean.
My law enforcement professor was a Freemason, and actually in the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry. And with that, when I was talking to him about it and all the great things that Masonry had to offer, including taking care of your family if anything happened to you, going into law enforcement, I really thought that was a great thing and something that I wanted to definitely be a part of. So that's why I became a Freemason. And once I got into Freemasonry, there's so many other great things that we do between charity and fellowship and everything else in between. It's been probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, especially as when you get older, your friends circles kind of change because people move away and they go to college and they do all these different things and they have their own lives, their own families. Joining a fraternity like this one, you definitely have a good group of brothers to be your friends and to be there for you and support you, and you're able to also give back to the community, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that I'm glad to be a part of.
Wait, what else is there too? That's the video. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Once again, we got a storm. No. And you are.
Volume control. So should you get out of hand, I want you to know I have this in hand. Quiet! And if everyone will listen up, as we say in the military, will you please join me in opening the table lodge. Brethren, it has been the custom among the fraternity of ancient free and accepted Masons, and at an appropriate time in the activities of the lodge, to adjourn to the banquet room and there open a table lodge for the purpose of celebrating the traditional ceremony of the 7 toasts, and you're going to learn all about that tonight. In accordance with this ancient custom, my brethren, will you please rise as our chaplain delivers the invocation. Brother Tim.
Pray. Most holy and glorious Lord God, we reverentially ask thy blessing as we gather around this festive table in the spirit of universal friendship and the principles and ideals of our beloved fraternity. As each of us endeavors to erect our spiritual temple agreeably to thy laws, may the beauty of thy light give us strength to build with wisdom. Amen.
So would it be. Brethren, please be seated. Brothers, senior and junior wardens, if you will rise, please be pleased to satisfy yourselves that all participating on the columns of the north and the columns of the south are master masons and their guests.
Worshipful Master, all on the column of the north are master masons and guests.
Worshipful Master, all on the column of the south are master masons and guests.
Brothers senior and junior wardens, be pleased to invite our brethren on the columns of the north and south to assist us in opening a table lodge of master masons and guests.
Brethren in the north, assist us in opening a table lodge of master masons and guests.
Brothers in the south, assist us in opening a table lodge of master masons and guests.
Brother senior warden, are you a master mason?
All my brethren know me as such.
Why are we met here?
To erect temples to virtue and dig dungeons to vices.
How are the temples erected?
By the blessings of God.
To whom are they dedicated?
To the Holy St. John.
How long must we work?
From midday to midnight.
What is the hour?
Almost midday or by 12.
Brother senior and junior warden, in consideration of the hour, inform our brethren on the columns of the north and south that a table lodge of master masons and guests is now open, and we are about to begin our works in the usual manner.
Brethren on the column of the north, a table lodge of master masons and guests is now open, and we are about to begin our works in the usual manner.
Brethren, on the column of the south, a table lodge of master masons and guests is now open, and we are about to begin our works in the usual manner.
Please be seated, wardens. Brethren, in this solemn hour, I charge each of you to rededicate yourself as a Freemason to the noble and glorious purpose of bringing light to dispel darkness, to the service of Him in whom you put your trust, to the precepts set forth in the great light in Masonry, the rule and guide of our faith. I charge you to keep your apron and emblem of innocence unspotted by the world, to practice that most excellent gift of charity, to make constant and proper use of the square of virtue, the level of equality, and the plumb of rectitude. Craftsmen in the courtrooms, I summon you to greater loyalty to your lodge and to your fraternity, to integrity in all of your dealings with your fellow men, to study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed. Guard against innovations, my brethren, preserve the landmarks, maintain the reputation of our fraternity, and succor the needy. Remember your brother's welfare. Be circumspect always in speech. Assist and support him who is falling. Whisper good counsel in the ear of him who needs encouragement. Let each of us make use of the trowel to spread the cement of brotherhood. Let us labor with a common gavel that these rough ashlars may become perfect ashlars. And finally, my brethren, remembering how you once stood in the northeast corner, a just and upright mason, I give it to you strictly, in charge, ever to walk and act as such. Will you please join me, I hope we brought a flag, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I also happen to know there's one on top of the bluff right over there, so if you join me. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, introductions. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the master of the lodge, Jeff Siebert, and my wife of 48 years. My friend for 52 years, a nurse for nearly 50 years, Ethan's mother, and quite frankly, my memory, my random access memory, and oftentimes my moral compass. I'd like to introduce my wife, Barb, if you just... We have with us tonight our scholarship winners, and I'll ask you to hold your applause, and later on you may learn something else about them, because we're going to ask their grandfathers, who are all Masons, to present those scholarships. But if you'll hold your applause, and if you would at least raise your hand, or please stand if you will. Sarah Fortune. Sorry. And I bet Sam is still playing tennis.
Yeah, well, on their way. He's on his way.
He's on his way. When he gets here, you're going to know him, because he's not going to look like Glenn.
Yes, he has hair.
And Lillian Bagaski. Have I pronounced that right, Steve?
Right.
Excellent. And last, or fourth in this case, Michaela Ward, if you'd please stand up. And please say hello and thanks for coming to this. Next, we have sitting lodge members for masters. Now, I'd like to introduce myself again, but Ethan says that's too much. So we'll just go with Scott Bannicky and his wife, Jackie, if you stand up, and we'll hold our applause until we have one more. David Scott from Forest Lake Lodge, number 344. Thanks for coming, gentlemen. Then, visiting past masters. Some of these people I haven't seen for 12, 14 hours. We were in Rochester last night working on some Scottish Rite stuff. First of all, Worshipful Brother Zeb Dudek from Meridian Lodge number 25 and his wife Michelle. Go ahead, you can stand, but you don't have to, Michelle.
Thank you.
And Worshipful Brother Glenn Schultz from Oriental Lodge number 34. And I should say something nice about Glenn. When our lodge was kind of in the dark and coming back to life, a number of people came from other lodges and brought us new membership. And with it, a lot of experience and a lot of help. And Glenn is one of those. So thank you very much, Glenn, from Oriental Lodge. And Lou is with him as well. And finally, I don't know if Brother Len Slop came from Lake City.
He did, but don't forget Paul.
Yeah, I just say, don't forget Paul.
Paul Himmler?
Yeah, he's right over there with Ann.
Did you get a date too? Worshipful Brother Paul Himmler from Winona, and Ann, who is here for the second time, if I'm not mistaken. Would you welcome all of those? And then there are the dignitaries from the Grand Lodge. First of all, Worshipful Brother, who is this guy? Oh, Sean Carrick and his wife Ann, who is our District 26 representative. Second is Worshipful Brother Foster Solom from our Metro West area custodian. We have custodian awards to give away tonight, Foster, but they might not be exactly what you're thinking. And a very nice Worshipful Brother Steve Johnson, who is Junior Grand Deacon, if you would, Steve, and Lynette. I hope I'm getting that right. Yeah. Who's the, yeah, you know that. Okay. And then Right Worshipful Brother John Gann, am I pronouncing it correctly?
You are.
And I met, quite frankly, John in the saloon downstairs.
I've never been in a saloon before. He showed me the way and what to do.
It may have gone well for him since, but quite frankly, I'm drinking water. And, oh, most worshipful brother and member of Red Wing Lodge number 8, Chuck Baltos, past Grand Master of Minnesota. One of those guys who got us off the ground and got us rolling. Thanks a lot, Chuck. And finally, I don't think Tom came. Which brings us to the end of those introductions, so if you would, welcome. Now, most of you know about the celebration, or what do we actually call it? The description of the toasting process for the Feast of the Seven Toasts. I first learned about it in the military, and I was taught in the military that it came to this country with Lafayette, who was working with George Washington and the boys during the Revolution, and so the tradition of the Feast of the Seven Toasts, or the table lodge of the Seven Toasts, is really old. I barely remember when it started. It was a long time ago. And here's what's going to happen. At some point, I'm going to say, attention to a toast, and you're going to charge your glasses. Now, you have those really heavy-duty glasses in front of you that are designed for toasting. I'll ask a proposer to make the toast, be it to me if somebody wants, but probably that's not going to happen, or to some other, or in one of the seven toasts, we'll make a toast, and then I will say to you, fire. You'll have it in the carry position. I'll say fire, and you'll drink roughly a third of what's in that cannon. And then I will say good fire, and you will drink another third, roughly, of what's in that cannon. And then when I say sharpest of fire, toss it off. Now, of course, here's the warning. In 7 toasts, I've done the calculation at home, it comes up to 1.5 pints of bourbon. You know? It can't be all good. But when you finish that third, I will say something like, taking your time from me, and because I did have an artillery brigade at one time, I will say point, and you'll put your glass out front, and then I'll say left, right. And then I'll say point, left, right. And then again I'll say point, left, hold it, left, right. And then I will say, oh, return arms. At which point you take that thing that nobody in here is strong enough to bust, and you slam it on the table so it sounds like an entire French battalion of artillery going off simultaneously. Got it?
Got it.
If it busts, well, I don't know. And after we say that, I will say, with me, brothers, but everybody's welcome to join. With me, brothers, 3 times 3, which looks like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we say, in our best military voices, Vivat! 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 And as you can imagine, some of this is going to come down if you do that just right. do that just right. So now we're going to practice, because we have the staff of the St. James here. So I will say to you, and I don't have a cannon, and if you'd I will say, first of all, your glasses are filled, brothers, senior and junior wardens, at which point they get up. Brothers, senior and junior wardens. Brothers, senior and junior wardens. Stand up, Jeff. You will see, and this is where we find out if our batteries are prepared for fire. You will see that all cannons on the columns of the north and south are properly charged and aligned for fire. And they will do this by inspection.
All cannons on the column of the north are properly charged and aligned for fire.
Are the cannons on the south properly charged and aligned for fire?
Properly aligned, Worshipful Master.
And they are charged.
All columns on the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. We will now fire our volley to the staff of the St. James Hotel, and I claim for myself the words of command. Attention, my brothers, this is where everybody gets up. Carry your arms. Bring it to the middle of your chest. Brethren, I give you the staff of the St. James Hotel. Are you still holding? Tonight we will frustrate them and hold them to unreasonable expectations few humans could hope to meet. All the while they will provide for us a wonderful evening of fellowship together while they spend a night away from family and friends. For their labors in this quarry, we salute them and wish for them health, prosperity, and happiness. I invite you to deliver your fire as handsomely as possible. Present harm! With me, my brethren, to the staff of the St. James Hotel.
To the staff of the St. James Hotel.
Fire! Good fire. Sharpest of fire. Brethren, taking your time from me. Point, left, right, point, left, right, point, left, right. Return. That's really great.
She has to do it again.
3 times 3, brethren. Viva! 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 Nice practice, and thanks to the staff of the St. James Hotel. I'm assuming you've all eaten your salads. If you haven't, I wonder if you're not over-talking. So I'm assuming everybody has, which brings us to our second toast. So, brethren, charge and align your cannons. Brothers, senior and junior wardens, you will see that all the cannons on the columns of the north and south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
Oh, come on, don't choke. We don't want choking.
All cannons on the column of the north are properly charged and aligned for fire, Worshipful Master.
All cannons in the column of the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. We will now fire our volley to our country, and I claim for myself the words of command. Attention, my brethren. Carry arms. Brethren, I give you our country, the United States of America. Our wish is for its honor and prosperity in peace, and its continued sovereignty, independence, and freedom. We pledge anew our undivided loyalty. I invite you to deliver your fire as handsomely as possible. Present arms with me, my brethren, to our country.
To our country.
Fire! Good fire. Sharpest of fire. Brethren, taking your time from me. Point, left, right, point, left, right, point, left, right. Return. With me, brethren. Viva! 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 Which brings me to the end of the second toast, if you'll please be seated. What?
You broke his charger.
Really?
Yes.
You know, the only thing worse is having your cell phone go off. at a table large ceremony. So I think one of our brothers has gone out to get your replacement. These are the ones, I think we got these from the Osmond Lodge, which aren't nearly as good as the ones from the Osmond Shrine, which aren't nearly as good as. Which brings us, and somebody's got to help me with this, because the next order of business is the Minnesota Masonic Charities 2014 video. Is somebody going to run this?
Yeah, I'm on my way up. Yeah, this is the somebody. Right?
Is that the somebody right there? I should remember.
I'm Eric Kaler, President of the University of Minnesota, and I'm delighted to share with you just how we at the university partner with you, our very good friends at Minnesota Masonic Charities. Our history of collaboration spans nearly 70 years, and during that time, many university leaders have served as members of the fraternity, and their names are etched in the history of both.
President Kaler, Dr. Kaler, is a brother. And when I was done shooting him in his office there, he looked up and he said, you know, this really makes me proud to be a Mason. So the generosity of him, it's impossible to get time with him. And we wanted to do it, and there's procedures and protocol to go through to connect with the president's office. Eric Neatonby called him on his cell phone. Said, want to do this? He said, sure, come on over. That's what brothers do for each other. So, tip of the hat to him.
Which brings us to our second toast, which I think is going to involve our junior warden. So, brethren, charge and align your cannons. Brothers, senior and junior wardens, will you see that all cannons on the columns of the north and south are properly charged and aligned for fire?
Charged and aligned for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. We will now fire our volley to the founders of the ancient craft of masonry. Attention, my brethren, if you'll all rise, carry arms. And you will now attend to the words of our junior warden.
Brethren, I give you the ancient and gentle craft of Freemasonry and the memory of its founders, the mystic tie that unites us in the brotherhood of man under the fatherhood of God. I invite you to deliver your fire as handsomely as possible.
Grace and harm! With me, my brethren, to the founders of the ancient craft of masonry.
To the founders of the ancient craft of masonry.
Fire! Good fire! Sharpest of fire. Brother, taking your time from me. Point,
left, right, point, left, right, point, left, right.
Return. 3 times 3, brother.
Viva! Viva! Viva!
Worshipful Brother Glenn Schultz to come up. Tell us, as briefly, tell us about your granddaughter and grandson and present the scholarships, please.
I don't know if I need a microphone. But anyway, it is my privilege to present this scholarship tonight to kids that I've known for 18 years. My granddaughter, my grandson, the twins. I can remember being in the hospital after they were born, hoping that there would be a good survival, and there was. I mean, it was good blood. But anyway, they've done well. I think they've taken a lot of the genes from their
grandmother.
Sorry. It's too bad they asked me to talk. But anyway, they've been very good in school. They're going to do very well in college. They've been excelling in outside of the schools. They've done a lot of volunteer work. They've all worked. They've had to work their way through high school, and they will be working their way through college. And now is the time for them to learn how to work, to learn how to help support themselves. Now I may need some help later on. But anyway, it's my privilege to introduce to you my two grandchildren, Sarah and Sam Fortune. And as you know, Sam was a little late tonight. He's also on he's captain of their tennis team, and they had a match tonight. They had a few rainouts through the years, so they're doing a makeup for a time. So I love them.
And in this case, third scholarship winner, whose grandfather is Steve Vagaski. Yes, Steve, if you would come up and introduce your granddaughter and award her the scholarship.
You know, I have a privilege of introducing our granddaughter because we have 5 boys and she is the first girl, you know, and she was a welcome sight, I'll tell you. Lily has been very active both in our church, and she has also worked with the kids at camp. And right now she's working part-time, but will be again going up to Camp Waco in Avery, Wisconsin. She'll be there all summer working with the young kids over there. And she will be starting her 2nd year at St. Mary's College in Winona. I am real proud to be able to, after 58 years being a Mason, it is a great pleasure, I'll tell you, to present a scholarship to my own granddaughter. Lily, it's a great pleasure, honey. Thank you very much.
And third, we'll ask Worshipful Brother Ron Ward, our senior warden, late our master, and Lord knows what else he is in every Masonic organization you can think of, to present the last scholarship of the evening.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. Michaela, would you join us, please? It's my privilege this evening to introduce you to our granddaughter, Michaela Ward. And Michaela has the privilege of being the oldest grandchild in the Ward clan. So we too had the experience 18 years ago of coming to the hospital here in Red Wing when she was born, and getting to hold this little bundle of joy. We've been very proud of her accomplishments. She's done well in school and so on. Michaela plans next year to attend Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas, and will be a music performance majoring. Education, music education. Now, Grandpa doesn't always get it right. But we're very proud of her accomplishments. She's a very accomplished pianist, but her real forte is in percussion. She's had the privilege the last 2 years to be a participant and the only young, to my knowledge, high school student to play with the Sheldon Brass Band. And she has taken several competitions at the state. Most recently auditioned at Harding University. And after she found out she had gotten this scholarship, she was also granted the top scholarship for incoming freshmen at Harding University next year. So we're very proud of her, and Michaela, it's my privilege as Grandpa and on behalf of this lodge to present you with this Masonic scholarship. And your parents and your grandparents and your sister and everyone were just terribly proud.
Brother Senior and Junior Warden. There they come. You will see that all the cannons on the columns of the north and the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
Charge. All cannons on the column of the north are properly charged and aligned for fire.
All cannons on the column of the south are properly aligned in charge for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. And they are charged and aligned in the east. I hope they still are. We will now fire our volley to the memory of our departed brothers. Attention, my brethren. Carry arms. We will now attend to the words of our chaplain.
Brethren, I give you the memory of our departed brethren. Their labors here on earth have ended, and we shall always cherish the memory of their fidelity, kindness, and brotherly love. May their contribution to our brotherhood inspire us to more earnestly dedicate our lives to the service of our fellow men. I invite you to deliver your fire as handsomely as possible.
Present arms. With me, my brethren, to the memory of our departed brothers.
To our memory of our departed brothers.
Fire. Good fire. The sharpest of fire. Taking your time from me. Point,
left, right. Point, left, right. Point, left, right.
Return. Return. Return home. With me, 3 times 3. Viva! 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 Brother Senior and Junior Warden, you will see that all cannons on the columns of the north and south are properly charged and aligned for fire. Brother Junior Warden.
All cannons on the column of the north are properly charged and aligned for fire.
All cannons in the column of the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. We will now fire our volley to our Grand Master. Attention, my brethren. Carry arms. You will now attend to the words of our past master.
Brethren, I give you the most worshipful Grand Master of ancient, free, and accepted Masons of Minnesota, symbol of our continuing relationship to an ancient craft, and to the Grand Lodge over which he has been called to preside. May he lead and deliberate with wisdom, decide with justice, and plan with a vision worthy of the great fraternity he serves. I invite you to deliver your fire as handsomely as possible.
Present arms.
With me, my brethren, to our Grand Master.
To our Grand Master.
Fire. Good fire. Sharpest of fire. Brethren, taking your time for me. Point, left, right. Point, left, right. Point, left, right. Return home. 3 times 3, brethren. Viva! 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 Where could we possibly be? Couldn't we be up to the 6th toast? Any arguments about the 6th toast? 6th it is. Well, you know, really. Where do I have the custodian has sent the words. He has a lot more notes, but we're running short of time, and Steve's got a dog he's got to get home to, if I'm not mistaken. I think he mentioned that, so I'd like to do those now, and then we'll do the 6th and the 7th. So we're getting close to the end. Our custodian is probably the most wonderful, generous, and quite frankly, the handsomest man. And from time to time, he gets upset with brothers. He sent some awards this time around. Now, Red Wing Lodge number 8 presents of ancient, free, and accepted Masons. From our custodian, that wouldn't be the guy who knows anything about a cipher, it would be the guy who mops the floors. Presents the 2014 Custodian's Award for being the most improved pushy past master. Because I joined Masonry, and the first thing he said, sure you can, and then come here, and then you sit and memorize that, and when one done, then cook. Well, it was most pushy improved past master, but it's been changed to now the Grand Lodge's pushiest district representative.
Yeah, I got something about.
And I'd like to produce, on behalf of our custodian, I'd like to present this to worshipful brother Sean Carrick. This is great. For any of you who've spent time in the artillery, when a round gets really close, you get on the horn and you say to the guy, you know, that was about 40 meters from me, and the artilleryman always says it looked okay when it left the tube. But this year's award, we've remodeled our kitchen, and quite frankly, it has been a process, not an event. Our next awardee played a great part in that by donating a whole lot of neat stuff for our kitchen. And so on behalf of the Lodge, I want to present the 2014 Custodian's Award for It Looked Okay When It Left the House. Hooked up the dishwasher, we've got a flood 2 floors all the way to the bottom. It took me at least 150 hours of labor and many double bourbons, but it's fixed now. So, all of that, of course, you know, is not quite true. It Looked Okay When It Left the House is presented to worshipful brother Ron Ward. And thanks for the dishwasher, because I don't like washing dishes at all. Congratulations, worshipful brother.
Wash.
Ah!
Ron.
Yeah, those awards are hard to come by, so if you can get it on film, that's probably best. Worried me that last night I spent some time with a guy who was actually playing the part of Queen Isis, or Cyrus. Isis. Bearded. And I thought to myself, he needs an award. And well, because I worried about tonight. The award is called Barba Non Facit Philosophum. For those of you who, like me, can speak French and Latin, it means that a beard does not a philosopher make. Although it can be messy if you trim it during mealtime, and I kept a close eye on him from the whole thing. I would like to give the Barba Non Facit Philosophum Award to just a wonderful friend, and one I haven't known long, but more of a friend than some, yeah, he's great. To Zeb Dudek! There are only 2 to go. Those of you with dogs, small children, and responsibilities, only 2 to go. The next one, oh, we have a brother who, quite frankly, where'd he go?
Very smartly done.
We're going to the last award, and we're coming back to that one when Paul gets back. Oh, this one, this is my favorite. This is the only second consecutive award. Now, if the custodian says that the worst thing that can happen, you reach into the garbage can and somebody's left a water gun in there, 2 things go wrong. First of all, it sticks to you. Second of all, you got to put in, and you know the cost of the Lodge, those inserts that go in garbage cans? They're pennies a piece. And we're on a budget because we like to give it to charity. So this year we're giving we're presenting the 2014 and second consecutive Custodian's Award for clueless about chewing gum and throwing it into the wastebasket. That makes it hard for the custodian. To worshipful brother Ethan Seabury.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Appreciate the award. Can't take it.
sure they were filming me. Or posterity, I'm sure. We don't have sugar at our lodge because as the custodian knows, the minute you start serving sugar with meals, you get ants. And you get ants, and then you got pest stop, and you got spray all over the place, and all kinds of deformities are going on in our office. Well, we're all too old for us. But all sorts of things go wrong. But this brother demands sugar for his coffee. Therefore, on our last trip out east, my wife and I stopped. Well, we stole sugar from every restaurant. And so, as a result of Mark's help and my driving, we have about 7,000 or 8,000 packets of sugar. And we're going to present the 2014 Custodians Award for knowing too little about Animalia arthropoda insecta hymenoptera formicidae, that's ants. To Brother Paul Thea. And I hope you use that
shirt. Thank you, everyone. I wanted to bring greetings from our most worshipful Grand Master of Masons in Minnesota, Jim Christensen, the 13,000 Masons in Minnesota, and the 158 other lodges in the state. We welcome you. We are glad that you are here. We hope you enjoy the evening, and please be safe driving home. Brethren and guests, thank you and good night.
District representatives and their area representatives. And quite frankly, they give a lot of time and energy to this great brotherhood and to the great things we do from the smallest level, that be Red Wing Lodge number 8, all the way to the Grand Lodge. And I want to thank you for making me that proud, so incredibly proud to be a Mason. Which brings us, of course, to our 7th toast. It was a ruse. It's the feast of the 14th toast. Which brings us to our 7th toast. Brethren, charge and align your cannons. Okay, brothers, senior and junior orders. You will see that all cannons on the columns of the north and the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
All cannons on the column of the north are properly charged and aligned for fire.
All cannons on the column of the south are properly charged and aligned for fire.
And they are charged and aligned for fire in the east. We will now fire our volley to all Freemasons, wherever dispersed. Attention, my brethren. You will now attend to the words of our secretary, Grand Lodge, whatever, and also tonight our title. The title is toast.
Then to fire our final volley tonight, our cannons freely discharge.
Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.
The Mason social brotherhood around the festive board reveals a truth more precious far than the miser's hoard. We freely share that bounteous gift that generous hearts contain. Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again. Amidst our mirth, we drink to all Freemasons o'er the earth. On every shore, our flag of love is gloriously unfurled. We prize each brother, near or far, who bears no moral stain.
Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.
You want to do the second, or do you want to go to the fourth?
I thought I'd make you the second.
We meet as Masons.
We meet as Masons free and true, and when our work is done, see this, our merry song and social glass is not unduly won. And only at our farewell pledge is pleasure mixed with pain.
Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.
We Masons prize that noble truth the Scottish peasant told, that rank is but a guinea stamp, the man himself the gold. We meet the rich and poor alike, the equal right maintain.
Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.
Dear brethren of the mystic tide, our night is waning fast. Our work is done, our feast is o'er. This toast shall be our last. Good night, dear friends. Once more, good night. Again that farewell strain.
Happy to meet. Sorry to part. Happy to meet again. Praise and arms.
With me, my brethren and guests, to all Freemasons wheresoever dispersed.
To all Freemasons wheresoever dispersed.
Fire! Good fire. Sharpest of fire. Taking your time from me. Point, left, right. Point, left, right. Point, left, right. Return. 3 times 3, brethren.
Viva! Viva! Viva!
Boy, thanks for coming, and I'm done, and now I can have a drink. For goodness sake, be safe on the way home. And if you're just going up a couple of stairs because you're staying overnight, lucky for you, I got to drive home.